I want you to stare at these random images for just a few seconds and try to see what you actually see instead of actually looking at the actual image. Because these are three out of context images from Longlegs. Now I want you to search for your birthday. If your birthday is a day before, then the Longlegs is gonna get you, or the Mr. Downstairs. Oz Perkins' new film Longlegs has marketed itself as the scariest film of the decade. Its trailers have been vague to a fault. Perkins directs this film with such an existential dread and passion for puzzles that it might actually earn the best scariest movie of the decade if you haven't seen any other scary movies for the past couple of years. But again, you can be the judge of that. However, there are a few things that I actually want to go through with this movie. So I'm going to go a little bit deep into the movie, but not like in a way where I'm going to spoil everything. That's the judge of other YouTubers out there. So yeah, let's just get started with it. Lee, played by Mika Monroe, is tasked to stop a serial killer from getting to his next victim. Earlier in the film, Longlegs' face is hidden under plain sight. The presence is completely boxed and in a red and white type of deal. Their presence is also dealing with strange cryptic languages and ghastly voices and birthdays that are all tied into one terrifying third act. And with all that in mind, Lee is trying to figure out the serial killer's motive. And by doing so, she is completely in tune with everything that is going on with the case. So much so that she can't communicate with other people around her. And that, of course, leads into conflicts between Lee and the other FBI agents in this film. Some of this film also deals a lot with Lee's past, which isn't really a spoiler as the film progresses. But even then, Lee is trying to really figure out who is the serial killer and what is their motive. Some might actually say that Lee, as a character, is autistic coded, mainly because she tries to communicate with other people and her communication skills are a little bit understated and she only reads the room as such. And I think this film plays a little bit with that in mind, but also there's other things that are happening inside of her mind that are also very psychological and sort of supernatural. I think Minka Monroe's performance in this is actually really fucking great. Her performance, again, is understated and relies heavily on the themes of the film and the dread of the film. And I think Minka really operates in such a different type of acting style that this film also plays heavily also with camp, and I think it's due to also Nicolas Cage's performance in this as Longlegs. He does the same Cage-isms in this, but there's actually more depth compared to any other Cage performance where he's just phoning it in. But again, I think both characters really have kind of like this underbelly darkness within them that can't be fully explained only if you've watched the film or have seen the film. And Oz Perkins' direction in this is actually pretty cool. Perkins is no stranger to dread and puzzles, as one of his films, The Black Coat's Daughter, had a bunch of puzzles to solve. And again, he does the little kind of like cryptic languages and puzzles and like weird things that are happening like in between the frame in this film. But I think here it's way more understated and you kind of can tell what is happening throughout the film, even with its obvious third act. And again, I think Oz directs this film with such style and emotional dread that you can probably like tap into like each scene in such a really profound way. And I really dig it. It also helps that Oz Perkins is actually related to Anthony Perkins from Psycho. So that whole untapped horrific imagery probably comes from his father, which is really, really funny. Now, the real question is this film really the scariest film of the decade? I would say no, but I do think it's one of the better horror films that have come out this year, especially with like the first Omen and Omen itself, the African film that came out this year, and also Infested, which dealt with giant bugs. But I think this film is probably one of the better detective films that have come out in the past couple of years. Mainly, again, due to its emotional dread and just really sadistic shit that happens throughout the film. And again, I really, really enjoyed this film. And I know a lot of people are going to go into this film with its marketing being, oh, it's the scariest film of the decade. They're going to be a little bit disappointed with that. This is actually more of like a slower, artistic, dreadful film that needs to be more attentive and more kind of in its own zone in terms of the audience's mind. So if you know that all in mind, then you'll probably really enjoy this film. If not, then yeah, this is definitely not going to be the film for you. But man, I can't wait for all the YouTubers to review this film and give it, 5 stars, and just also do like the little, oh, like there's something in the background, like red circle crosses, like, oh my god, like we saw something that hasn't been seen, like when you're watching the movie, like just all that like weird type of Longlegs explained videos that are going to pop up on your feed. And again, I'm not going to be that person to really go super deep into Longlegs, but yeah, it's pretty predictable. Remember to smash that like button, and also remember your birthday, because if it's the day before, then Mr. Downstairs is going to come for you.